Recently, I ran across a short story that had been one of my favorites when I first read it back in college. It's entitled Scenes from the Life of a Double Monster. It was written by Vladimir Nabokov of Lolita fame. I read it in an anthology that was edited by Bruce J. Friedman, who was at that time one of my favorite authors. It was called Black Humor, and I think it's been a little bit controversial with respect to the fact that a lot of people feel that Nabokov didn't really finish the story, or it was like an experiment. In any event, it wasn't necessarily considered one of his better works, but it resonated with me. And let me set up the story for you just a little bit. The story takes place in a little village that overlooks the Black Sea. A woman, the daughter of a shepherd, is raped, and ultimately she gives birth to Siamese twins that are conjoined at the stomach. And at the moment that she conceives birth, all of the midwives are attending to her, and in horror they hold up this double monster, this Siamese twin. So the twins, Lloyd and Floyd, and interestingly the story is only told from the perspective of Lloyd, the one twin. Evidently the other twin doesn't speak very much, and his point of view isn't necessarily the one that we want to hear. It's particularly the one of Lloyd. But Lloyd talks about their life, and ultimately what happens is their grandfather ends up selling tickets to people and generating an income off of his little sideshow. And the twins are asked to do strange things like throw a ball back and forth, and Lloyd goes into detail talking about the stupidity of all of this and talking about some of the ramifications of being part of a conjoined Siamese twin pair. And he goes into talking about how life is complicated, and how sometimes he dreams of waking up to find himself separated from Floyd, and how he's running free, and somehow Floyd is still conjoined to something else, like a doll or a teddy bear or something, where he has to bear the burden of still this other twin that he's conjoined with. In any event, what ends up happening is, at some point, one of the grandfather's many partners wants to take Lloyd and Floyd away to another continent and take them on tour. And the two partners start to argue about their share of the profits and all of this, and because of the conflict, in a moment of impulse, Lloyd and Floyd decide that they will try to escape. So they do try to escape, and eventually the grandfather's partner sees that they're trying to make a getaway, and he takes the opportunity to intercept them and take them on his own on this tour. And the story ends, and I want to read you the end of the story because this is what's important to me, at least, or what resonated with me. 20 years have passed since that gray spring morning, but it is much better preserved in my mind than many a later event. Again and again I run it before my eyes like a strip of cinematic film, as I have seen great jugglers do when reviewing their acts. So I review all the stages and circumstances and incidental details of our abortive flight. The initial shiver, the gait, the lamb, the slippery slope under our clumsy feet. To the thrushes we flushed, we must have presented an extraordinary sight, with that black cloak around us and our two shorn heads on thin necks sticking out of it. The heads turned this way and that warily as at last the shoreline highway was reached. If, at that moment, some adventurous stranger had stepped onto the shore from his boat in the bay, he would have surely experienced a thrill of ancient enchantment to find himself confronted by a gentle mythological monster in a landscape of cypresses and white stones. He would have worshipped it. He would have shed sweet, tears. But alas, there was nobody to greet us there save that worried crook, our nervous kidnapper, a small, dull-faced man wearing cheap spectacles, one glass of which was doctored with a bit of tape. Here's what I like about the story. Had the circumstances been different, Lloyd and Floyd could have been viewed as a mythological creature of wonder and awe. And that's where I want to change. Instead of seeing things in a jaded way, after all of that disappointment and disillusionment and pain and sorrow and unrequited love and anger and mistreatment and snubs and whatever life throws at you, all of that stuff that makes you hardened, I'd kind of like to turn back the clock a little. I'd kind of like to start seeing things through less jaded eyes. I'd like to recapture the wonder and awe that I used to experience when I was younger. I want to see the magic in everything again. And that's kind of what I hope for all of us, that we can kind of take a look at ourselves and take stock and think about all of that, and to think about what's changed. Anyway, that's what I got. That's the best I can offer. Thanks.